Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you on this Monday morning. We are broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Hope everyone out there had a great weekend, despite the football we had to watch yesterday. After the week off, I was kind of prepared to be, all right, I'm ready to watch another Titans game, and I didn't realize how bad it could actually be again. 16-13, the final. Titans did make a little run at it there at the end, got down into the end zone for the first time as an offense in 3 weeks, and finally were able to tie that game up at 13, but could not get a stop. Texans kicked the game-winning field goal from 35 yards out as time expires to send the Titans to 1-9. Parker, how's it going? How was your weekend?
Same thing as every weekend, pretty much, except for last weekend when the Titans didn't play. Enjoyed my college football Saturday. I was like you. I'm like, man, I'm actually kind of ready to watch the Titans. Maybe they can get it done today.
Right.
Maybe they can look at least competitive. And they did look competitive, but ultimately they lost. And I tell people my most toxic character trait is being a Titans fan.
Yeah, and I gotta say, if you're kind of on the fence about whether you want this team to lose or you want this team to win, maybe yesterday is one of those days that you feel pretty good about, because you got to see Cam Ward get the experience of leading the team down the field to tie it late, but you still add another loss in the column there to get you to 1-9 and continue to hold sole possession of the top pick in the NFL draft. Still 7 weeks to go. A lot of football left, but the Titans lose again. Now 3 years to the day since the last time the Titans won back-to-back football games. 3 years ago up in Green Bay, last time with consecutive victories. They have won 10 games in the last 3 calendar years. Rough. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to text or call, it is a Reaction Monday. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Let's get into Mike McCoy a little bit here and the aggressiveness. We're going to talk a lot about Cam Ward in this first hour, but Mike McCoy, I kind of put it out there on Friday. I said, let's see this team be aggressive. You got nothing to lose. You're 1-8. There's no chance for this team to get back into a playoff hunt. And if you're going to go win football games, you can't do it playing not to lose. And once again, the Titans played not to lose. Before I give my thoughts, I want to replay this sequence from the press conference from yesterday, because I heard Robbie and Rexroad playing this on my way in today, and it is great to see PK and TD just go after Mike McCoy for the reasoning, which he doesn't really even give a reason. I won't spoil it. Here's what Mike McCoy had to say about the lack of aggressiveness when it comes to going for it on fourth down. So that was Mike McCoy after the game yesterday. Paul Kaharski, Teron Davenport, basically just asking for, yes, we understand that there are certain down and distances where you go for it and you don't. But what was the reason for not going for it on 4th and 2 when you're inside the 30? Your offense was finally making some headway, and he really didn't give much of an answer there. My problem with that sequence is not even that they didn't go for it on 4th and 2, but they did the exact same thing they did against the Colts a couple of weeks ago, where on 3rd down and short, they ran the ball into the line and didn't get anything, and then sent out the punt unit or the field goal unit. Like, if you are going to run the ball on 3rd down, typically that means you're trying to pick up as much of it as you can, and then you're going to go on 4th. You have to know what you're doing on 3rd down. You have to know what you're doing on 4th down before 3rd down. That is not a decision that is made after you don't pick it up on 3rd down. It should be, hey, it's 3rd and 2. Let's run it with Tony Pollard here, see if we can get it even closer, and then we'll go on 4th down. Instead, it's, let's run it here on 3rd and 2, and then we're going to run the field goal unit out. I just do not get it.
I'm going to be very, very blunt. It is being a sissy. It is being a freaking sissy. You have nothing to lose. And I've been so staunch from the very beginning. You're going to lose football games. This team is the worst team in the NFL. Go down swinging.
Right.
Don't go down. Don't lay down and just give it to them. You're going to lose, but go down swinging. And that's not going down swinging. It's playing conservative football. It's why nobody wants to watch you. It's why nobody in Knoxville wants to watch you. It's why nobody in Memphis wants, because no one cares. And you're losing fans because you play this kind of crappy football every Sunday. I can't stand it, dude.
Yeah,
I cannot stand it.
just don't get why they are playing not to lose. It's like, hey, sorry, 6 points is not going to be enough to win this football game. You have to go put it in the end zone at some point. And guess what? They did at the end. But how many opportunities are the Titans going to have when they get inside the other team's 30? It hasn't been very often. So I did not get the play calling there to run it and then kick it. Like, if you know you're not going for it, give your quarterback a chance to go get you a 1st down. If you were planning on going for it, you run it. You can't do 50-50 of both and think it's going to work out. I also, and I know it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway because your defense gave up the field goal at the end, but I would have liked to see Mike McCoy go for 2 after the touchdown there at the end. I know it didn't end up mattering because, the field goal would have won it for Houston anyway, but your offense, again, you didn't score an offensive touchdown against the Chargers. You hadn't scored an offensive touchdown all day until the final minute and a half yesterday. What makes you think that if you go to overtime in that game that you're going to be able to go win that football game? I didn't think so. And I thought you just executed a play from the 2-yard line to get into the end zone. See if you can do it again and take your first or take a lead with 90 seconds left. Your defense had played well enough. You thought maybe you could get a stop. Anyway, that one didn't bother me as much as the 4th and 2 because I don't understand. You're 1-8. Mike McCoy really has nothing to lose. He's not being brought back. Go out and see if you can make a play. Instead, they kick it. You end up losing 16-13. We've got a couple people on the text line. Jeff from Hendersonville says, why win games? I'm sure Mike McCoy has been instructed to lose. There is no chance that Mike McCoy has been instructed to lose. 9192 says the same thing. Guys, they're making Mike McCoy tank. It's obvious. More picks when you trade that first. Borgonzi will appreciate it. There is zero chance that the coaches and players are tanking. Like, that is not how the NFL works. If Mike McCoy was instructed to tank, I think he would resign, right? Like, that's how these guys are. If Mike Borgonzi came down and told Mike McCoy, hey, like, we want you to be competitive, but if you have a chance to lose the game, lose it, he would resign. He would not be the head coach. Like, yes, I'm sure that the front office is perfectly happy to see this team lose because you want to get that high draft pick. That is how you rebuild this team. I'm sure that they understand that a high draft pick is very helpful. But if you tell Mike McCoy to tank, he's going to resign. Coaches and players do not go into work every single day trying to lose football games. That, like, 5-6-3-3, they're tanking. How is it that hard to see? McCoy can't say out loud we didn't go for it because we don't want to win. Mike McCoy is not trying to lose football games. Mike McCoy does not care what draft pick the Titans have this year. Like, that is That is the furthest thing from his mind because, first of all, that is never the head coach's job. And also, he's not going to be here. He doesn't care if the Titans trade back and get a bunch of picks. He's not going to be here. So that's what I'm saying is you're 1-8, now 1-9. Go be aggressive. You have nothing to lose. The team has nothing to lose. What's the point of running the ball into the line on 3rd and 2 across midfield and then kicking a field goal? It's horrible. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam from Portland is called in. Adam, thanks for calling. What you got for us this morning?
Well, that, and I don't really, and I like Pollard a lot. I really don't want to see very much more of Pollard.
I agree.
Like, I see Tajay being explosive, and I'm like, man, just let these guys. If you're young, and bring up Restrepo, this has to be the week, right? Like, finally bring, I don't care if he runs a 640. Like, that Cam has one guy he likes to throw to, bring him up. You know, I don't know, man. I'm over it right now. And this is the question I have for you, because I was thinking about it and it hit me. Had a mild panic attack when I thought about it. What if nobody wants to trade with us? What if we're stuck at 1?
Yeah.
What do you do if we're stuck at 1? So I was kind of see what you want to do with that, Jake.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Adam. We're going to talk more about the quarterbacks who could be available later on in the show, because the one guy I thought was pretty secure at being a top pick did not look good on Saturday. But you're right, that is a possibility, Adam. If the Titans could tank their best and go 1-16 and guarantee themselves the number 1 pick, but if there's no dance partner, they may have to just stick and pick. Now, there are options up there. If you have to take Arvell Reese number 1, I think he's going to be a really good player. But does he have the impact on the team that an extra first and 2 extra seconds or whatever you would have? Probably not. The only player that can have that big of an impact is a quarterback. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll get to all your phones and text messages throughout the show. Again, it is a Reaction Monday, so we want to hear from you. Coming up next, we'll get into Cam Ward's day. I did not think he was very good overall. There were some misses. He had passes batted down, but it was good to see him break through down the stretch and make some plays. We'll get into Cam Ward and get back to your phones on the other side. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly off and running on this Monday morning. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Mondays were made for Macero. Big screens, bold flavors, and all the football action. From queso to kickoffs, this is how Macero does game night. Macero Football Mondays and 12 South. Don't miss a snap. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. I know everybody is reeling from a tough football weekend, so let's give something away here. Be caller number 3 right now at 615-737-1025 and win a pair of tickets to see the Predators take on the Panthers at Bridgestone Arena Monday, November 20th. 4th, a week from today, 7 o'clock puck drop. That is caller number 3 to win 2 tickets to see the Predators and Panthers square off at Bridgestone Arena. Titans fall to 1-9 yesterday. And they did have a couple of moments there down the stretch that made you feel a little bit better about the game. The offense was reeling most of the afternoon, but was able to come through at the end. A big 39-yard touchdown pass from Cam Ward on not a touchdown pass, 39-yard pass to Chikakonkwo on 3rd and long to set up the game-winning touchdown. And the Titans were able to tie the game at 13 apiece. But the Houston Texans go right down the field. A 3rd and 16 conversion to Nico Collins that ended up being the difference as the Texans knocked through the 35-yard field goal for the win. Cam Ward, he was okay yesterday. Most of the game was not great. He had some bad misses. The Mason Kinsey one down the field on the out and up. You can look at that and say, hey, maybe Mason Kinsey should have looked back for the ball a little bit earlier. He couldn't make an adjustment, but that's a wide open receiver that Cam Ward tried to make a throw on the run. He probably needs to set his feet and give Mason Kinsey a chance there. Again, you'd like to not have Mason Kinsey on the field at all, which I thought Paul Kaharski had a very good point on that yesterday post-game of Mason Kinsey just continues to get opportunities, and he can be a good scout team player all he wants. He can really help out the team get ready for the opponents. But if he's going to be on your roster, which he is right now, he has to be able to make plays on Sundays. And that's not the guy you want to be targeting there. And I think I would put most of the blame on that throw on Cam Ward. I mean, I think he rushed it and it was errant, and Mason Kinsey didn't have enough time to go try and make a play on it. And that's a huge miss. But the other one, I saw some people blaming Cam Ward for the throw to Kinsey on the last drive of the game that bounced off his fingertips. And was it put in the perfect place? No, but that is a throw that an NFL receiver needs to catch. Like, Mason Kinsey should not be on the field. Titans can't control that their top 3 wide receivers all got hurt on Sunday, but man, Mason Kinsey, that, like the guy, again, give him all the credit in the world for grinding it out from being a D3 receiver and carving out what I'm sure is a very profitable role in the league for him for a long time. But you got to find somebody better than Mason Kinsey, because that in those situations, you want your number 1 overall pick quarterback throwing to someone he can rely on, and Mason Kinsey is not it.
Yeah, you know how much I love my D3 football players, because I myself was one. So I think, we got to give them all the credit in the world when they actually, are able to stick around in the league for as long as he's been able to. But I think Paul brought up an excellent point after the game yesterday. It's a credit to him for how long he's been able to stick around, but you have been given chance after chance after chance. And it's ultimately on the Titans for not being able to find somebody better. So this is solely on the Titans, because they've had five years to be able to get somebody better, and they still haven't been able to do that.
Well, and I will give the Titans a little bit of credit that 5 of the 6 receivers who made their opening day roster were not available at some point late in that game. Calvin Ridley obviously broke his leg. He's done for the season. Maybe we'll never see him in a Titans uniform again. Then you've got your rookies, Chim Dike, Alec Iamander were both banged up. Alec was kind of in and out at the end there. And then Bryce Oliver just went on IR with a knee injury. Tyler Lockett no longer on the team. So the plan you had at wide receiver obviously was thrown out of whack because of the injuries. But you got to be able to find somebody better than Mason Kinsey. Van Jefferson was perfect for that role. When everything goes wrong, Van Jefferson is a fine safety blanket to have, and he caught the tying touchdown yesterday. But you got to have somebody better than Mason Kinsey. We still have people talking about the tanking thing on the text line. 5633 says, Tony Pollard's corpse is out there playing more snaps than Spears. The coach is playing ultra conservative for no reason whatsoever. They're selling starters for pennies. They passed on promoting Fossil. Where's the proof they aren't tanking?
Okay, let's educate the audience real quick, because nobody is going to intentionally try to tank. If you do, that's probably a lawsuit by the NFL.
Right.
The NFL is going to come after you. I can promise nobody in the professional ranks is intentionally trying to tank. It's just not going to happen. So let's get that out of our minds. It's not happening. The team just sucks.
I think Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker might be trying to set this roster up for failure, right, this year. I think they realize how much a top pick could help this team. That's why you trade away Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Roger McCreary, and you trade away Draymond Jones when he's putting up better numbers than anyone on your pass rush had throughout the first 2 months of the season. Like, yes, those moves are setting up this roster to not be very good, but maybe the team is just bad. Like, this team has won 10 games in 3 years. Maybe they're just bad. And maybe Mike McCoy, who wasn't a very good head coach his first time around, gets brought in as the interim head coach. Maybe he's just not very good at it, but that doesn't mean they're intentionally trying to lose. 3400 says, McCoy doesn't have the killer instinct needed for head coaching job. Players want to win. Give them something to fight for when the opportunity presents itself. He should be teaching PE at a nursing home somewhere. I don't think Mike McCoy has done very well since taking over, but you're left with very limited options when you're picking an interim head coach. And I do understand the idea from the Titans to pick the guy who is going to have the least impact on the rest of the coaching staff. Right? Like, Mike McCoy was an offensive analyst. He was not all that involved in anything going on the team. He can still have those responsibilities and be the head coach. It would be tough to put Denard Wilson or Bones Fossil in that role and have them be able to handle it. I know Fossil has done it before, but it still impacts the team in a greater way than McCoy would. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. It wouldn't be a Reaction Monday if we didn't hear from Trey on our phone lines. Trey, good morning. What you got for us today?
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Hey, I just wanted to say that I know y'all been talking about the 4th and 2. I mean, that play that he ran, he kicked the field goal. But you have to understand something, that they don't know how to coach. It's like we kind of know that's what they're going to do in those type of situations, and it's all organizational. It all falls from the top to the bottom. It starts with Amy. It starts with Brinker. It starts with Bergonzi. And then it ends up with Cam Ward. And we know what Cam Ward is. I've been saying it all year. I know people that got picked in the 50th round of the baseball league that has been to 2 championships and has won one. And the coach said, I want you to do 2 things: steal bases and play defense. He was in the league for 8 years. What is Cam Ward doing? He's not doing his job. It's just apparent he's not good at all. And I'm sorry, but we need to do something. I don't know what we need to do, but we need to do something to win some football games. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you for the call, Trey. Always appreciate Trey calling in. I don't know what the baseball part had to do with Cam Ward. I guess saying that he knows people who've been drafted very late in the baseball draft who have carved out successful careers. It feels irrelevant to Cam Ward's development. I love that he says, we know what Cam Ward is. It's the exact opposite. We have no idea what Cam Ward is at this point. And yesterday, I think, was a great example of that, of a guy who still has a lot to work on and had some errant misses. And we'll talk about it on the other side, but I'm a little worried about the pass getting batted down the line of scrimmage. It felt like the Texans said, that's our game plan. Like, if you can't get through to Cam Ward, just throw your arms up because he's going to go sidearm and throw it right into your hands. And he did it 3 times all in the second half yesterday. Little bit concerning, but we don't know what Cam Ward is. He's a young quarterback still learning in this league. Look around the league at all of the quarterbacks who are having success right now. Drake May's an MVP candidate. Did he start great? No, He had a pretty bad rookie season, but showed flashes. Caleb Williams. There were a lot of people saying Caleb Williams was the wrong pick at number 1 for the Bears. Well, guess what? They're 7-3 right now. Josh Allen struggled as a rookie. Look at him now. He's the reigning MVP. Jared Goff was horrible his rookie season. He's gone to 2 Super Bowls. 1 Super Bowl. Almost went to a second. But anyway, just making the point that we don't know what Cam Ward is at all right now. All you can do is take a look at what he's doing and what's fixable of the mistakes and what can you build on of the things that he does well. He's going to get, at the very least, all of next season. And I would guess probably another year after that. Like, they picked him number 1 overall thinking that he was going to be the franchise quarterback of this team. And Mike Borgonzi came out and said it a week and a half ago that we believe that Cam Ward has everything it takes to be a franchise quarterback in this league. So guess what? They're not giving up on him. And you shouldn't give up on him as well. Just look at the way he's developing, and we'll see what happens. But
I'm not even going to go after Trey. It's not worth the time. We appreciate Trey calling in despite his absurd takes about Cam Ward. Listen, is Cam Ward responsible for J.C. Latham false starting 4 times? Is he responsible for the defense just can't stop anything on that last drive of the game? No. Is he responsible for Calvin Ridley getting hurt? No. So there's so many other things around him that are just not working out. And has Cam Ward played good? No. But let's not throw in the towel on Cam Ward.
Right.
He hasn't even played an entire rookie year yet.
Yeah, and I thought there was a lot of good yesterday from Cam Ward. He ran the ball more effectively. I think we heard Mike McCoy say earlier in the week that, hey, we want Cam Ward to not be so hesitant to run the football when there's an open lane. And he had a big run, got across midfield on that last drive. I'd like to see more of that moving forward. But there was good from Cam Ward yesterday, especially at the very end. We've got to see that on a more consistent basis, like we've been saying all year. Joey from Gallatin says, Trey is going to incite a riot one day. He is loving the bad guy role, by the way. Yes, I heard him screaming into the phone with Robbie and Rexroad saying, I love my haters. So, yes, Trey has taken on the villain role here at 102.5 The Game.
The 102.5 villain. None other than caller Trey.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll continue to talk Cam Ward on the other side. Looking at Cam Ward yesterday and what he's done throughout the year, Mike Herndon from paulkaharski.com put out an article on his development. And I want to go through some of the key points from that and also continue to look back at yesterday's performance as well. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you on this Monday. Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game.
Yeah, I understand. I'm frustrated with him. That's my teammate, so I'm gonna support him the same way he supported me throughout this whole journey. He's speaking nothing but the truth. That's something that myself as an offense, as the quarterback, we don't want 3 and outs. That's something that we should never settle for. And the biggest thing, we shouldn't settle for punting the ball. We have to end every drive with a kick, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, and that's got to be the mindset every day. We have that mindset every day, but we got to, emphasize it and be about it on every play.
That was Cam Ward after the game commenting on Jeffrey Simmons. Don't rant about the locker room for the Titans right now. He's tired of sugarcoating it. Cam Ward backing him up there. We'll talk about the Titans and maybe who they were calling out throughout the week. Hint, hint, I think J.C. Latham might be on the receiving end of a lot of those upset comments. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Talking Cam Ward after what was an up and down performance yesterday. I think there was a lot of good that you saw, but there also were some bad misses and a stretch throughout the game where the offense just could not get anything going right. And also the fumble, again, that's his 6th lost fumble. At first I thought that, was it Will Anderson who got in there and knocked it loose? Yeah, I thought it was Will Anderson who knocked it loose, but if you look back, I think Cam might have been dropping that either way. Which I hate to say it, because that's another thing that you just cannot have as a quarterback in this league. But if you look back at that replay, that ball might have been slipping out whether Will Anderson hit him or not. And that's concerning.
Yeah, there's a chance. And the Cam Ward haters out there are only going to get louder after seeing that.
Right. It is funny, though. And Adam in Portland texted in and said, I keep hearing people make the comparisons of Cam Ward to Patrick Mahomes as far as physical gifts. Can you do me a favor and imagine what life would be like for Patrick Mahomes if he never had Travis Kelce? Because we've seen the drop-off since losing Tyreek Hill, but without Kelce, I think we have a mid and somewhat reckless quarterback, kind of like what Cam looks like right now. Your thoughts? I don't necessarily agree with you, Adam. Like, I think Patrick Mahomes has done a great job of elevating talent around him through his career. Like, look at Mecole Hardman. He was great with the Chiefs, leaves for the Jets, and does nothing, comes back to the Chiefs, and immediately steps back into that role. Like, I think Patrick Mahomes, he would be fine without Kelce and Hill. Obviously, that helped him early in his career. But I do want to make the point of, if you watch a full game of Patrick Mahomes, like Titans fans who do not like Cam Ward, go watch a full game of Patrick Mahomes. And he has misses all the time. He missed back-to-back deep throws yesterday. And he had 2 horrible interceptions back-to-back. One got called back for a penalty, and then he threw another one right after. So go watch good quarterbacks that are widely regarded as some of the best in the league. Josh Allen had a horrible interception yesterday.
Josh Allen had a terrible first half yesterday.
If you're one of the people who wanted Sam Darnold in the offseason, 4 interceptions, and a couple of them were brutal.
Against big-time opponents.
I mean, made a jump throw right into a linebacker's chest yesterday. Go and look at good quarterbacks play, and maybe you'll call them a bust too, because it just feels like with Cam Ward, any mistake he makes, all of the haters come out of the woodwork. He misses one throw. Oh, I can't believe we took him first overall. What, we should have traded back. Oh, he's horrible. He's a bust. It's like, there's going to be mistakes, but go watch good quarterbacks play football. They're not always going to be good, but they do it more consistently. And that's what we need to see from Cam. It's not going to happen right away, but you've got to be able to see Cam Ward. He has to be able to be more consistent, but he's going to make mistakes. All quarterbacks in the NFL make mistakes. And it's just funny to see good quarterbacks do the same things Cam Ward is doing, and they're not getting called busts for it. I get that they've proven themselves, but Cam Ward's going to make mistakes. You've just got to see the good things more consistently. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go back to our phone line. Stryker has been waiting patiently. Stryker, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hey, I respect the opinion of all the callers, but what I would encourage you at the station to consider is asking anybody that's calling in to rip on Cam Ward when they were last hit on the blind side from somebody that weighs almost 300 pounds. Because as Mike Tyson would say, everybody's got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. And for a rookie quarterback to take the abuse he's taken, I think he deserves a lot of compliments for strength, stamina, and resolve. But anybody that hasn't been hit from the blind side by a 300-pound edge rusher needs to at least have the credibility of being in a car accident where their car was totaled, or that they've had a root canal without anesthesia, and ask them how much they looked forward to the next set of downs, because I think a lot of cognitive skills get affected by the neurological side of getting your rear end kicked repeatedly. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Stryker. I agree. I think there are
My favorite call of the day.
There's a lot of Cam Ward hating from it's all confirmation bias. That's all it is the people who don't like Cam Ward is they didn't want him in the first place, and so every mistake they're going to pile on. Cam Ward needs to have a big game at some point. And again, it hasn't been great, but to give up on a first overall pick quarterback, I mean, it started like 6 games into his career, is just insane for me. Like, where is the nuance in this fan base of, hey, he doesn't have to already be the franchise quarterback, but he's also not already a bust. It's somewhere in between. We'll see which way it goes up and down throughout his career. But the people asking for Will Levis to be in an open competition with Cam Ward next year, it's nonsense. It is complete and utter nonsense. John, thank you for the text. I did say Patrick Mahomes drop off after losing Hill. He says that's what we call winning 2 Super Bowls without Hill. I want to clarify. I mean, statistically, like he had 50 touchdown seasons when he had Tyreek Hill. Like that was a much more dynamic offense. Obviously, he's a winner and he finds ways to win in January, but he's not putting up ridiculous statistical numbers like he was when he had Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. 615-737-1025. Let's go back to the phone lines. Rich has called in. Rich, thanks for calling. What's up?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Doing well.
I'm a PSL owner for 25 years. I just think this whole team's a dumpster fire. I agree with the previous caller. You know, when you got 300-pounders coming at you, I can see that reason why. Cam's mechanics, he just looks off back there. And I can understand, you got linemen coming after him. You got an offensive line that can't block for him. Just to recap, I just think this is the worst Titans team I've seen. It's not even close. And I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're probably right, Rich. This team is historically bad. I mean, in terms of point differential, and I mean, you're 1-9. Like the Titans haven't. They've had a couple of really bad seasons. You went 2-14 one year. You gone 3-13. This one is just right up there with them. It's been horrible. And with Cam Ward, I agree. There are some mechanical issues that I think you need to look at. He drops his arm sometimes when he's throwing. Makes him sail the passes. The sidearm delivery gets the passes batted down. The footwork has been an issue. Certainly there are mechanical issues that Cam Ward has to sort out, but he's a rookie, 10 games in. Give him an offseason to try and work on some of that stuff, because honestly, when you're in the middle of it, I'm sure it's hard to actually make significant changes to the habits that you have. It's just good for him to get the experience playing at NFL football right now, and you hope to continue to see development. Lance in the YouTube chat says that's terrible. The difference between good quarterbacks and Cam is they are good quarterbacks. Cam isn't. That's not the point I'm trying to make. Cam obviously has to show that he can be a consistently good player. The point I'm trying to make is Titans fans hyper focus in on every mistake Cam Ward makes and acts like other quarterbacks don't make them. Like Cam missed an open receiver yesterday in Mason Kinsey that should have been a big play to set up a touchdown. But Patrick Mahomes missed 2 deep balls and threw 2 horrible picks. Like good quarterbacks make bad plays. Cam Ward has not made enough good plays, but we can't hyper focus and put a microscope on every play Cam Ward makes when it's all going to be an accumulation of what he does and the development. He's going to learn. He's going to get better. He's not a bust just because he misses a couple of throws or fumbles the ball or throws an interception. Guys make mistakes. Cam's got to do more of the good stuff, but you can't call him a bust just because one play doesn't go well. Like he has shown plenty of promise. And we're going to get into some of the development stuff after this. I mentioned Mike Herndon on paulkarski.com wrote a great article taking stock of where Cam Ward is. Can you see the trend line going up and how he compares to other young quarterbacks who have come out over the last 10 years? We'll talk about it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Chase and Big Joe will be broadcasting right after us, live at the all-new Circus Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall today prior to the Monday Night Football game. Today's Monday Night Football game is the Cowboys and the Raiders. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Looking back at Cam Ward's day yesterday, there was good, better running, scrambled for almost a 20-yard gain, 20-plus yard gain on that last drive to help set up the Titans' game-tying touchdown, made a great throw on third down to Chigakonkwo, and then made the play to Van Jefferson to get in the end zone. But also a lot of bad. Missed Mason Kinsey for what would have been a huge play on an out and up down the sideline. He had 3 passes batted down at the line of scrimmage. There were struggles from Cam Ward yesterday, too. Too many misses, but good to see that breakthrough at the very end. I do wonder if we don't see the consistency yet this year with an interim head coach in there, if it's ever going to happen this season, and it might just take an offseason and a new head coach. And that brings me into Mike Herndon's article on paulkaharski.com. If you haven't read it yet, go over there. It is where Cam Ward currently stands for the Titans. And Mike Herndon did a great job of splitting up the first 9 games into 3 different sectors. First 3 weeks, which were Brian Callahan as the head coach, with Bo Hardegree not as the play caller. Then 4 through 6, Callahan still there, but Hardegree calling plays. And then post Brian Callahan, week 7 through 9. This came out before the game yesterday. And you can look and see the tangible progress he's making statistically. You've got almost a 10% bump in completion percentage, which is something that was a big concern early on in the year when he was completing 53, 54% of his passes through the first 4 or 5 weeks. It wasn't good. He's now up into the 65% range over the last 4 weeks. The yards per attempt have gone up 2 full yards basically since the beginning of the year. So you're seeing tangible growth. It's got to continue, but at the very least, he's starting to become a little bit more efficient, I guess is a good way to put it. When you're completing 54% of your passes for 5 yards per attempt, you're not going to win a lot of football games. Your offense isn't going to move very well. It's starting to get better, even with some major concerns. Of course, the offense isn't scoring enough points, and the turnovers have been an issue as well. But the more interesting part of this article is a comparison of the 18 quarterbacks picked in the top 5 picks of the draft since 2016. And a couple of those are removed as Trey Lance and Anthony Richardson did not play 9 games in their rookie season. But you look and see the completion rate for Cam Ward. It's low. It's right around 58, 59%. But it's still better than some guys who have figured it out in their career. And the one I want to point to is Jared Goff. If you watch Jared Goff play his rookie season, you would have thought it was the worst pick in NFL history. I remember watching it because as Titans fans, everybody was rooting against the Rams to get that pick higher. It ended up being 5th overall. Jared Goff was horrible as a rookie. You look, he had a 54% completion percentage, a 64 passer rating, which is about 10 points less than Cam Ward. He was intercepted at a 3.5% rate. He had a 1.4% big time throw rate. Cam Ward is currently at 3.2, and his turnover worthy play rate was almost 5%. Cam Ward's is 2.7. So you look at that, and I'm not saying I want Cam Ward to be Jared Goff, but the example I'm bringing this up about for sure is Jeff Fisher was fired midway through that year. And similarly here, Brian Callahan was fired earlier this season. He didn't look good. Jared Goff didn't look good even when the interim coach got in. But they went and found Sean McVay. And he turned Jared Goff into a guy who could take that team to a Super Bowl. Sean McVay's probably not out there this year. But it shows you what competent coaching can do. And this isn't to bash on Jeff Fisher because we love Jeff Fisher. Go Nashville Cats. And obviously did a lot for the Titans during his time here. But Jeff Fisher clearly did not have the ability to develop Jared Goff. You brought in a coach who could get the most out of that quarterback, and look at what he was able to do post Jeff Fisher. So that's the point I'm trying to make is, yes, the rookie season hasn't been good, but there are tons of examples of quarterbacks who have struggled. Their coach has been fired in year 1. You get a competent coach in, and you can start to figure it out. And that's why this is such an important offseason for the Titans. Not only do you have to build this roster up, because right now it doesn't look good. Calvin Ridley probably will never play another snap in a Titans uniform. So you're running out.
My thoughts exactly.
You're running out a wide receiver core of, as long as they're healthy, Chim Dike, Alec Ahimaner, Van Jefferson, Mason Kinsey for the rest of the season, basically.
And we will see Xavier Restrepo at some point too. It'll just be later.
We'll talk about that later because I think X's time, it might be time to catch the strep coming up soon with the injuries on the receiver front. But that may be one of the worst wide receiver cores that I've ever seen. The offensive line, they're not awful, right? Like it's not turnstiles like we've seen for the last few years, but Is it good? No. And the penalties yesterday were horrible. You've got to build the roster up, but you also have to be able to find a coach who can get the most out of Cam Ward. Clearly, Brian Callahan and the remnants of Brian Callahan's crew are not getting the most out of Cam Ward. It is so important to go find a competent head coach who can develop Cam Ward. We're seeing it with Drake May as we speak, a guy who showed flashes last year, but overall struggled with consistency. Now he's an MVP candidate. So you've got to be able to go out and find a coach who can develop him. And like Vrabel's not a quarterback whisperer. He's a leader who is able to find a guy who has experience developing quarterbacks in Josh McDaniel. So Josh McDaniels, I should say. Mike McDaniel down in Miami. Maybe he ends up being a guy like that. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. 4405 makes a good point as well, that Goff, Amon-Ra, and even Dan Campbell as a head coach were 0-9 until they got to 1-10 on Thanksgiving a few years ago. They were able to build in the draft, and that's an important point too. They also had multiple first-round picks in that 2023 draft where they took Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell, and they got Brian Branch in that draft. Like, you got to be able to build the roster up, but getting a head coach who can develop your young quarterback is going to be crucial. And we saw it with Jared Goff. We're seeing it with Drake May. Cam Ward probably isn't going to put up ridiculous numbers in his rookie season, right? He's got 6 touchdown passes this year. He's probably going to end up with 12 to 15 on the season, would be my guess. Not going to be world-breaking or crazy record-breaking stuff. But if you can get him the right coach, he can develop through this offseason and maybe get rid of some of the bad habits that we've seen so far.
Which is a big if, because, again, if you're an outside candidate looking at this job, how attractive is it? I mean, you have Cam Ward, the potential to work with him, but you have to choose to work with him instead of being able to draft your own guy. So that's another thing that plays into this. But my question is, who's going to be interested in this job? Who's going to be interested in working with the ownership? I've talked with several people who don't live in the state of Tennessee, but are kind of viewing from the outside, and they've asked me about ownership, and I've explained to them how it's all a mess. So people on the outside recognize that there's an ownership problem with the Titans. So who's going to want to deal with that?
Yeah, and it's a good point. I think the sales pitch you have to have is you can work with Cam Ward, and you're going to be able to be on the same playing field as everybody, right? Like, they have to be able to tell these guys that, hey, we're not holding you accountable for anything that goes wrong immediately. All 3 of you are going to be on the same level, whether that's Mike Borgonzi, Cam Ward, and the head coach. They've all got to be on the same timeline, and you can't continue to have this revolving door that you've had over the last 3 years. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's quickly go to our phones before we take a break, because we're going to get into some college football on the other side. Jeremiah has called in. Jeremiah, thanks for calling. What you got for us?
Man, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I wanted to, I know y'all don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to try to summarize this. For years and years, I trapped fur for a living. And the first 2 or 3 years I trapped, man, I didn't hardly do no good at all. You couldn't get the old trappers to tell you any secrets on how to catch fur, because they were under the impression the less you catch, the more they could during the fur season. And that's what it seems like is happening to the Titans. I'd like to bless them, man. They're having a hard time last 2 or 3 years because the people who know better really ain't trying to help them figure out how to catch that fur. And that's what they need, man. They need somebody to open up and show them, what the secrets are to the game, and encourage them and bless them. That's what I want to do. I want to bless them so they can catch more fur at them games.
Thank you for the call, Jeremiah. I like it. Yeah, let's see if the Titans can catch more fur moving forward.
Any more blessings would be greatly appreciated.
I think he makes a good point of that. It doesn't feel like there's any kind of culture on this Titans organization right now. You've got a lot of people pulling in different directions. That's why the head coach, it's so important. Not only developing Cam Ward, you've got to find somebody who is going to come in and set a culture and get everybody pushing in the same direction, because right now, you can tell, especially based off Jeffrey Simmons' comments yesterday, that they don't have everybody on the same page. They don't have 100% buy-in from that locker room. They need to be able to get that moving forward, and that starts with the head coaching hire. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. That wraps up hour number 1. We'll talk more Titans later on in the show, but we got to talk some college football. It was not a great weekend for Vanderbilt's college football playoff hopes. We'll get into that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Second hour, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman and Parker Kelly with you from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Going to talk some college football here in hour number 2. Not a great weekend for Vanderbilt's college football playoff hopes. They were off this weekend, a couple of big games, looking for some help, scoreboard watching, and didn't quite work out the way they hoped it would. We got a couple of texts. Trevor said after Jeremiah's call about trapping fur, said, T-Rack better look out for that guy. Yeah, T-Rack, if you see Jeremiah in there, he might be coming for you, trying to get some more fur during Titans games. We will talk more Titans later on in the show, but for Vanderbilt this weekend, there were 3 big games for your rooting guide. There were some other ones that you hoped you could get some help, but it was unlikely. Like Utah and BYU played, and they blew out Baylor, and I'm blanking on who did BYU play this week?
BYU played TCU.
TCU, right. They blew out TCU and Baylor, so they were able to continue to move on, and they're probably still going to be ranked ahead of Vanderbilt when the new college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow. But the 3 big games, Notre Dame and Pitt, Oklahoma and Alabama, and Texas and Georgia. You were rooting for Pitt. You were rooting for Alabama. You were rooting for Georgia. You only got one of those results that you needed. And that was Georgia over Texas, which I think, fair or not, Parker, I know we had the conversation about could a 9-3 Texas be it? I think that one pretty much puts an end to that one. I mean, they got blown out. It's not like they lost on a last-second field goal. They lost, 35-10 was the final score?
It was a blowout.
Texas is officially out. So that at least is good for Vanderbilt. But Oklahoma, that win at Alabama firmly puts them in the top 5 among SEC playoff contenders. And I just start to wonder if you're going to get more than 5 out of the SEC, right? Like the math just doesn't quite work out for you to get 6 SEC teams or 7 SEC teams, which would be the maximum. It feels like it's going to be 5. And right now, Vanderbilt firmly behind Texas A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Alabama. If those teams all win out and Vanderbilt wins out, I find it hard to believe that the committee is going to take Vanderbilt over Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they've got the better win right now on the road at Alabama. Alabama beat you head-to-head, so a 10-2 Alabama versus a 10-2 Vanderbilt. They're going to go with the Tide. And right now, Georgia, A&M, and Ole Miss, I think, are pretty much solidified as playoff teams no matter what. So it wasn't great for Vanderbilt's playoff hopes. Now, that's not to say that it can't happen. Vanderbilt still has to control what it can control and hope it gets some help. 10-2 is going to give you a chance. As we've been saying pretty much all season, you win 10 games in the SEC, you're going to sit down on Selection Sunday, and you're going to feel like you have an opportunity to be in the bracket. But right now, it's starting to look less and less likely given the games that we have left. Now, there's always chaos. Chaos is plentiful in November in college football. But right now, Vanderbilt's going to need more chaos, even at 10-2, if they're going to get into the playoff.
I did the math over the weekend, and here's what I'm thinking so far. Ohio State, Indiana. Ohio State, if they lose a game, let's say to Michigan, this is hypothetical. If they lose, they're still going to be in at 11-1. Indiana, it plays Purdue. They're already 11-0, so they can afford to, even if they lose that game, they're still going to be in. I don't think they're going to lose. Texas A&M, they have an FCS opponent, Samford, and then they play Texas. So they could afford to lose one, still be in. So that's 3. Georgia's sitting with 1 loss. I say even if they lose another one, based on the resume, they'll get in. That's 4.
Well, and they're also 10-1 already, right? They have a bye week, and then they play Georgia Tech.
No.
They have an FCS.
They have Charlotte.
They have Charlotte.
Charlotte. So, Georgia, I think, is in. Texas Tech, I believe, will be in. Ole Miss, I believe they're in as well because they're not. They have Mississippi State. They're 10-1.
Right. They are the one that's 10-1. They don't play this week. Yes.
Oklahoma, they have to beat Missouri and LSU to win out. Alabama, I think they'll win out. They have Eastern Illinois and Auburn. Notre Dame has Stanford and some other team. I can't even remember.
Notre Dame has Stanford and Syracuse.
Yeah. They're a playoff team. So that's 9 teams that I just named?
Yeah.
And you still need somebody from the ACC, or if Duke happens to win the league, then
maybe
you'll
2.
have.
Yeah.
So that's 2 spots. So that comes down to 1 spot left that I see between Oregon, Miami, USC, BYU, Utah, and Vanderbilt, and potentially Georgia Tech. So all those teams fighting for 1 spot. Vanderbilt needs some massive help.
So here's where I kind of looked at the math here. I think Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Georgia are in, unless Georgia loses to Charlotte. Obviously, that would be, or Texas A&M loses to Samford. Like, there are opportunities, but I'm going to say those teams are locks as long as they beat the lower level opponents that they play this upcoming weekend. So that's 4. I'd say Ole Miss obviously has to beat Mississippi State and Starkville. Do you think a 10-2 Ole Miss gets in?
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
So I put a question mark next to them because
they get the benefit of the doubt over Vandy.
Yeah, but Mississippi State would be a much worse loss than Alabama or Texas.
Yeah, but they also have the win over Oklahoma, which is a feather in their cap, which is better than any win Vanderbilt has.
And I guess the college football playoff committee has basically said they are going to value big wins over losses. So, yeah, I would say maybe you put Ole Miss in the lock category. So that's 5. Texas Tech, I think, needs 1 more win. I think you've got it. If
they'll get it.
If they lost,
they'll get it.
I think they'll get it. Oregon needs 1 more win. They got to beat USC this weekend. but I feel pretty good about Oregon.
Which I don't think we're talking about USC enough. I personally think USC should be inside the top 12.
Well, if USC beats Oregon, they're going to be.
Yeah, USC is playing
They will
very good
take
football.
Oregon's spot, I would say.
They turned Iowa's game and turned it into their own game on Saturday because it was pouring down rain in LA, and they ran the football very well.
Yep. So that's 7 right there. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, Oregon, that I would put in like a 90% or above category going to be in. Craziness can happen, but I think it's very unlikely that those 7 teams don't make the playoffs. I'm looking at 10 open spots because the ACC, I think, is a 1-bid league, and your group of 5, which looks like it's going to be the James Madison Dukes possibly after Navy took down UCF or USF.
Yeah.
So you've got those 2 spots. You've got 10 other ones. We filled 7 of them. So there are 3 spots left for these teams: Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame, Utah, BYU, Vanderbilt, and USC. I would argue all of those teams need to win out to have a chance. So Vandy needs 3 slip-ups from those teams, right? Like you need Alabama to drop the Iron Bowl. You need BYU to lose to Cincinnati. And you need probably, and at that point, maybe you could look at it and say maybe Vanderbilt gets in, but I would say you probably need Oklahoma to lose to Missouri or LSU as well, which not out of the equation. It looks like Bo Prabula might come back from Missouri this weekend to take on Oklahoma. So that would be a big break. Ahmad Hardy just ran for 300 yards against Mississippi State. So I think that's what you're looking at for Vanderbilt. The road has slimmed down a little bit with Oklahoma's win over Auburn, over Alabama. I think that was the result you needed most on Saturday, and you didn't get it, which is tough. But if you win out, you probably need those 3 results all to happen to get in. You need Oklahoma. Yeah, you need Oklahoma to lose to Missouri or LSU. You need Alabama to lose the Iron Bowl to Auburn, and you need BYU to lose to Cincinnati. I think that's it. And I would guess Oklahoma, Alabama, and BYU are all going to be favorites in that game, maybe heavy favorites. So you need help. But at the very least, 10-2 is going to have you sitting on that couch thinking you have a chance to hear your name in that bracket. You just need some help. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Getting some thoughts on the text line. Scott says, need Cincinnati to beat BYU, Georgia Tech to beat UGA, Missouri to beat Oklahoma, Auburn to beat Alabama. Or you don't need all of these results.
If Georgia Tech beats Georgia, that would actually hurt.
Yes,
Vandy
actually
worse.
It would. Yeah, you need Georgia to win that game.
Yeah.
You want Georgia to knock Georgia Tech out.
Georgia
completely.
would still make the playoff, even if they lost to Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech almost knocked themselves out with a loss to 1-7 Boston College on Saturday.
And Georgia Tech would catapult themselves into the conversation.
Right. A win over Georgia.
You'd hop Vanderbilt.
And it would be an 11-1 Georgia Tech at that point.
Yep.
They would be in.
Yeah. Here's what I think. The committee did have Vanderbilt at 14 last week. So I'm interested to see if they move up a spot because of the result of the Texas loss. But I believe Vanderbilt, based on resume, and you can make the argument either way, could be ahead of Utah.
I think they should be ahead of Utah.
Utah's just looked better in recent games than Vanderbilt, so that's why.
We did it all last week, so I'm not going to harp on the Notre Dame Vandy thing. I still believe Vandy's resume, if they go 10-2, would be better than a 10-2 Notre Dame. But that ship seems to have sailed based on the committee's comments and where they've placed Notre Dame. And I got to say, Notre Dame looked impressive on Saturday against Pitt.
They did. No,
I mean,
they have 2 quality wins, one over USC, who, again, I believe should be a top 12 team. And they blew out Pittsburgh. So, that's 2 very quality wins for Notre Dame.
I don't know if Pitt is a very quality win.
Well,
quarterback.
They're going to see the ranking next to Pittsburgh's name and count it as a quality win for Notre Dame.
Yeah. But Vanderbilt beat LSU when they were 10th in the country. They beat South Carolina when they were a top 10 team in the country.
That's why the term ranked win is so subjective.
Right. It's like, is it ranked when you beat them, or is it ranked when you at the end of the year? Ricky says Notre Dame would beat Vandy, though, and that's not my argument. I think Notre Dame would beat Vandy.
But that should have nothing to do with it. This isn't trying to predict anything.
It's not about who would win. If it was, Vegas would pick the field. But I think when you stack up the 10-2s against each other, I think Vanderbilt's resume would be better. But again, it doesn't seem like that's even going to be a factor. Notre Dame, if they go 10-2, the committee has basically already put them in. So Vandy needs some help. They do. But all you got to do is go 10-2 and give yourself a chance. That's all Vanderbilt can control at this point. And we'll see what happens. You got Kentucky this weekend. That's the one that Vandy has to feel good about. You're coming off a bye, but Kentucky also just lit up Florida, who I know Florida's not very good, but they lit up Florida.
Florida's so bipolar.
Right.
They look amazing one week, and then they get dog walked by Kentucky.
Right. So Vanderbilt has to come ready to play. All you can do at this point, if you're Clark Lee and Vanderbilt, is go win the games in front of you and hope the chaos of November in college football helps you out. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you have thoughts, we'll continue to talk college football. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you on this Monday. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 1025, The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you on this Monday. Titans fall yesterday to 1-9. We'll talk more Titans in the final hour of the show. But looking back at the college football weekend, you can get your texts and calls in at 615-737-1025. Our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Going through the math for Vanderbilt, and it looks a lot tougher for Vandy to make the college football playoff than it did a week ago. Oklahoma's win over Alabama was the jarring result because, I wishful thinking in my Monday headlines and said I thought Pitt was going to beat Notre Dame. I don't know if I ever really believed that. Notre Dame clearly the better team in that matchup. But Oklahoma beating Alabama, that was the tough result to see from the weekend because an Oklahoma loss to get them to 3 losses would put Vanderbilt in that 5th SEC spot. You'd be behind A&M, you'd be behind Ole Miss, you'd be behind Georgia, you'd be behind Alabama. But it's realistic to think that 5 SEC teams could get in, and Vandy would put themselves right in the driver's seat to be that number 5 team. But now Oklahoma, their resume pretty clearly would be better than Vanderbilt's at the end of the year if both teams are 10-2. So now you got to hope that they slip up. And Alabama, it's tough, Parker, because watching that game, I don't know if you had the same thought, but like Alabama, I thought outplayed Oklahoma, or maybe that's not the right word. I thought they gave away opportunities to beat Oklahoma. That defense is really good for the Sooners. It really is. But Alabama outgained them like what, 350 to 150 or something like that. Like it wasn't a game that Oklahoma just went in and dominated, but Alabama just couldn't get out of their own way. 3 turnovers in that game, and they weren't able to pull it off in the end. Alabama, that's one of those games that they could look back on, and in the Iron Bowl, to use the old cliche, when those two teams play, you throw the records out. Like, Alabama could end up on the outside looking in, thanks to a game where they just kind of missed opportunities against a really good Oklahoma defense.
Their 212 total yards versus Alabama are the fewest in any win since 2001 against Texas. This Oklahoma team is not built to beat you through offense because John Mateer hasn't looked the same since his injury. Now, if they get anything remotely close to what he looked like before the injury, they can go out and beat almost anybody. But they're going to beat you defensively. I think they have one of the best, if not the best, defensive line in the country. But they'll beat you by forcing you to make mistakes and then capitalizing off of those mistakes. That's Oklahoma's recipe to success.
Isn't it hilarious that Oklahoma has completely flipped their football philosophy with Brent Venables there? Like, pre-Brent Venables, it was, we're going to score 52 and we're going to hope that we don't give up more than that. Like, that was the plan for Oklahoma, was we want to play a shootout every time we play and see if we can come out on the right side of it. We're going to play almost zero defense, which I know there's been a lot of, Brent Venables. Is he on the hot seat heading into this year? All that. But it seems like he was the perfect coach for this team heading into the SEC, because in the Big 12, you could get away with, we're going to win in a shootout every single time. We're not going to play defense because we know you're not going to play defense. In the SEC, that's not how it works. And Venables has gotten Oklahoma into a spot where their defense is actually carrying them in these games. And that was a big win against Alabama on Saturday. If they can beat Missouri and LSU, Oklahoma is going to be in the college football playoff. So Vanderbilt, if you're looking for public enemy number 1 in your scoreboard watching the next couple of weeks, and again, Vandy's got to take care of their business. If Vanderbilt loses either of their games, all of this is for naught. But if they're 10-2, I think the one team that absolutely has to lose is Oklahoma.
Yeah, I just did the playoff predictor for Vanderbilt, and they have a 33% chance to make the playoff, whereas beforehand when we did this and say that they lose 2 games, it was 96%.
Crazy.
So it went down, quick math on the air here.
63%.
63%.
Crazy. And just not getting as much help as you thought you might get. You need Oklahoma to lose. Maybe you need Alabama to lose. You need one of those 2 teams to lose, because, again, it's hard to envision 6 SEC teams getting in. You're getting 3 Big Ten teams in. Notre Dame's going to get in as long as they don't slip up against Syracuse or Stanford. You got a group of 5. You got an ACC. and a Big 12. So at the very minimum, there's 7 spots that seem to be spoken for. The other 5 could all be SEC teams, and I think probably will be all SEC teams. Vandy has to get themselves into that 5th SEC spot. Right now, they're 6th. You need either Oklahoma or Alabama to lose down the stretch. Likely going to be favored in all of those games the rest of the way. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to our phone lines. Clay is called in. Clay, appreciate you calling in. What you got for us this morning?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Good. If you look at it as far as the playoffs and what Vandy didn't do, and maybe what really hurt them was the slow start at Texas. Because you're sitting there 9-1 instead of 8-2, and probably with a lot better chance.
Yeah.
With Oklahoma winning Saturday, I just think the 5 teams, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, and A&M, is pretty much almost decided, barring some craziness. Now, crazy things do happen, but I think Oklahoma has both games at home, correct?
I'm not 100% sure about that. Let me see.
What was
Pretty
the question
sure they
again?
play Missouri.
They're playing both games at home. Yes, they are. They're both in Norman.
Yeah, Missouri and LSU at home. So, but, the way I look at it is it still doesn't take anything away
Right.
what this team's done this year. This team's been amazing, and I'm proud of Coach Lee, and I'm proud of these kids. And it's probably the best season Vanderbilt's ever had. And certainly in my lifetime. I was born in 1961. So Saturday is a big deal. Diego Pavia is playing his last game at First Bank Stadium.
Right.
And we're going to have 9 regular. We're playing to have 9 regular season wins for the first time since 1915. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yep.
And Diego Pavia, with what he's done for Vanderbilt football, he deserves for that stadium to be more black and gold than blue and white. I mean, this kid is he's amazing. He's the best player for his football team and what he does for his football team of anybody in the country. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I don't know if he's going to be invited to New York. I just know this kid deserves to go out the right way, and I just hope Vanderbilt, even at 10-2, if they go to the playoffs, they deserve to go to a really good bowl game.
Very good points, Clay. Appreciate you calling in. I agree with you. I think Vanderbilt fans should really just enjoy the end of this season, because if you, again, and I hate it because expectations have been raised, right? Like, you now feel like you're going to be disappointed if Vanderbilt doesn't make the playoffs. But if you had told Vandy fans at the beginning of the year, you go 8-4, I think they would have been fully on board for that. And that's what Clark Lee wants. He wants the expectations to be raised to the point where you are disappointed if you don't make the playoffs. And Vanderbilt, they still have a chance to go 10-2. You've got to go take care of your own business and let the chips fall where they may. And make the committee leave you out, right? Like that's got to be the message in this Vanderbilt locker room the next couple weeks is don't worry about what's going on anywhere else. We need to go 10-2 and make the committee leave us out, because there's nothing else you can do. You can't help Missouri or LSU win that game against Oklahoma. You can't help Auburn beat Alabama, but you can go out and take care of your own business, go 10-2, and force the committee to make a decision. Don't make it easy on them, because if you go 9-3, there's no chance you get
No
it.
chance.
You get it.
No chance.
You go 10-2, you make that committee choose to leave you out. And guess what? You can do what Florida State's done for the last 3 years and complain about it. And, I get it's not what you want. You want to play in the college football playoff, but at this point, all you can control is going in and winning those games. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We see you on the phone lines. We will get to you coming up next, continuing to talk college football after what wasn't a great bye week for Vanderbilt, unable to get the help that they needed, but they returned to action on Saturday against Kentucky. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 125 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly. Talking college football here in the second hour of the show. We'll get back into the Titans coming up in just a bit. But let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Edward has been waiting patiently. Edward, thanks for calling. What you got this morning?
Hey, guys, just want to talk a little college football. But before I do that, the guy that called before me, his name is Clay. I believe that's the guy that would bring donuts to Big Joe and
yes, it is.
Every morning. Has he sent a little love to you guys yet?
He has not brought in donuts yet. We know Clay is banned from First Bank Stadium, but yes, same Clay.
Other than a firm handshake, I haven't gotten a donut from him.
All right. Well, I just that was something always that Big Joe had a little fun with. I've been going to the Vanderbilt football games since the days of Fred Pancakes. You guys probably weren't even born. That's the coach that was there back in the 70s. I would love to see nothing more than them to get into the playoffs. But going to Kentucky and then going to Knoxville, that's a grave concern to me. Just get you guys' thoughts. But like you said, it's all for naught if they can't get it done in those two cities. And then the last thing, I saw CBS Sports breaking it down Saturday, I think, college football talk. And they had the top three guys in the Heisman. And Diego was not in there. It was the Indiana guy. Who were the other two?
Probably Simpson and Sayin.
Yeah, I think that's right. But I thought Diego should have been there, especially if he goes to Knoxville and hands Tennessee a loss. I think most definitely. But just wanted to get you guys' thoughts and enjoy the show.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Edward. Appreciate it. For Pavia and the Heisman, there's still football to be played, but right now it's pretty clear that he is in the top 5 range, but not in the top 3 range. I think Mendoza, Simpson did not look good on Saturday, and we'll talk about that. Saying they've kind of just been cruising over at Ohio State, but his statistics, I think, would make you think that he's probably been the best quarterback in college football this year.
He's been playing very well.
Right. Like, he's very good, but it's not like he's been on the big stage since week 1. And we'll see, I think, how he plays in the game coming up in a couple of weeks. And in the Big Ten championship will let us know whether he's going to win it, but he's certainly in the conversation. And then Marcel Reed, and we're going to talk A&M South Carolina.
Honestly, that was a pretty impressive performance.
That is one of the most ridiculous games I've ever seen. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but I do want to talk Vanderbilt, and I thought Edward made a good point there of, you want to see them get into the playoffs, but you also have to have some perspective on this. If you're a Vanderbilt fan out there, of 10-2 is unbelievable if they're able to do it. Even 9-3, if they win on Saturday against Kentucky, Vandy will go undefeated at home for the first time since 1982. Like, the progress that has been made this season has been otherworldly. And we were being told at the beginning of the year, when we were saying that Vandy could take a step forward from 7-6, being told it's Vandy. They're going to take a step back. They're going to go 4-8, or they're going to go 3-9. I think their win total in Vegas was like 3.5 or something like that. And guess what? Vandy's 8-2 right now. You do have to have some perspective on it and say, man, even if they do get left out at the end of the year, or even if they go 9-3, what a year it's been for Clark Lee with the growth of this program.
That's why I'm glad Clay called in, because we live in this world of the expanded playoff where it's playoff or bust. And if you don't make the playoff, you didn't have a good year. And that couldn't be further from the truth. That's the way that casual college football fans would think. But the people that are diehards like us, that's not. Vandy hasn't won 9 games in a regular season in over a century. Yeah. So they're still playing for something.
No, I know.
And Tennessee's still playing for something, even though they're not going to make the playoffs.
But it's hard when you get this close to the playoffs to not be playoffs or bust, right? Like, that's all we've been talking about for the last month is, can Vandy make the playoffs? And it would be tough to go 10-2 and get left out.
Right. And that's what Vandy's been building towards. So I can completely understand the frustration, but it doesn't mean it's a wasted season.
Right. No, not at all. And it's a stepping stone moving forward. You've established Vandy as a team that can go get close to the playoff at the very least and can be in contention for all of these things. Have a Heisman candidate quarterback, and that helps you moving forward in the transfer portal and high school recruiting. It is tough, though, because you get this close, you want to see them get in, and it's so hard to imagine that a 10-2 Vanderbilt is not going to get in. Like at the beginning of the season, Vanderbilt had the second hardest strength of schedule in America, in the country. So at the beginning of the year, you could have said, man, 10-2, they're definitely in. 9-3, maybe they have a chance. But it's all how it works out around the rest of the country. And right now, you have 19 teams in Power 4 plus Notre Dame that could get to 10 wins. 19. And all of them aren't going to get to 10 wins. You're going to have some teams lose down the stretch. But, I say 10 and you hear it in the intro every single hour. 10 wins is an SEC school and you're in. It feels like that's going to be the case most years, but it's tough this year when Vandy has a chance to get to 10 wins that it may not be the case. The SEC is just not going to get more than 5 teams in with the way things have sorted out. I mean, the Big Ten's getting 3. I think obviously Ohio State, Indiana, they're locks. And then the winner of Oregon, USC this weekend, you feel pretty good. Maybe there's a chance they get 4. If USC beats Oregon, there's an outside chance a 10-2 Oregon would still get in. You've also got a Big 12 that is being a little bit frisky right now, and it's hard to judge those Big 12 teams because, well, yeah, BYU could be 11-1, but who have they beat? Really nobody. And it's looking back at the beginning of the year and saying Vanderbilt had the second best strength of schedule in the country, and they go 10-2. It just shows you college football is never going to go the way you think it's going to go. Right? It is always going to be unpredictable, and the teams you think that are going to be great every year aren't always great. Look at Penn State. Penn State, did they beat Michigan State this weekend? They did, right?
Yeah, they beat them.
Okay, so they finally have a Big Ten win, only over an 0-7 in the Big Ten, Michigan State. But you just never know how college football is going to work out. The top 2 teams in the preseason AP poll, both are going to miss the playoffs. Crazy. And Vanderbilt going 10-2 with the preseason second hardest strength of schedule may not get in because the rest of the country has played really well. You could end up with 12 to 15 teams in the Power 4 plus Notre Dame that have 10 wins, and you just can't get more than 5 in the SEC this year. You got to be able to pass Oklahoma or Alabama, and in all likelihood, those teams are going to win. I mean, Oklahoma's playing at home against teams they should beat. They could lose, and that's what you're hoping for. But right now, the path looks narrower and narrower for Vandy to be that 5th SEC team to get in. Joel mentions, he says, you aren't mentioning Vanderbilt has their hands full with Kentucky and Tennessee. I mean, we have this conversation every week of we are making the assumption that 10-2, because if they don't go 10-2, then there's no point in having the conversation, right? Like if they go 9-3, it doesn't matter what Oklahoma does. It doesn't matter what Alabama does. They're going to lose. So for Vanderbilt's college football playoff hopes, they have to go win those games. And I agree, Kentucky, not going to be an easy win. There's no easy wins in the SEC, and Kentucky is going to come in here and they're going to give it everything they've got. Vandy has to come ready to play coming off the bye week. And then Tennessee, they're going to be underdogs in that game. I mean, with the way the rivalry has gone basically forever, you don't look at Vanderbilt heading into Neyland Stadium and say, yeah, Vandy's going to win that game. It's going to be a battle. But they have a chance in front of them to get to 10-2 and get a marquee statement win at the end of the year as the last chance the committee gets to see them. That's what you got to be focused on right now. And everything else out of your control. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Philip from Murfreesboro says, glass half full with Prabula back in that Missouri defense. Don't count out Mizzou against OU. I have several Bama fans that are absolutely convinced they will lose to Auburn. You never know what could happen. VU just has to take care of business and see what happens. Exactly. I mean, they play the games for a reason. They play them for a reason, and we'll see if Vandy can take care of their business and maybe get some help in the final 2 weeks of the regular season. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. I mentioned that Texas A&M South Carolina game. We got to have a conversation about one of the craziest football games you will ever see, the greatest comeback in at least 20 years in the SEC. We'll talk about it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you on this Monday. Talking college football here in hour number 2, back into the Titans at 11 o'clock. We've gone through the Vanderbilt college football playoff chances, and the most important thing, win your last 2 games. You need some help now. Oklahoma getting the win over Alabama on Saturday. A big shot to Vanderbilt's college football playoff hopes, but still plenty of football to be played. We'll see how all sorts of stuff out on the field. Speaking of on the field, one of the craziest games that we have seen maybe ever on Saturday in College Station. South Carolina comes out of the gate and just punches A&M in the mouth. 30-3 at halftime. I mean, Lenora Sellers was looking like the guy we all thought he might be at the beginning of the year. You got Nick Harbor showing off the track speed and fighting with Texas State troopers in the tunnel. I mean, that was Shane Beamer had his job saved for a while there. You're up 30-3. And then A&M storms back and outscores South Carolina 28-0 in the second half to win that game. Unbelievable. And Shane Beamer, I don't know how you come back from that one. You had a chance to get a statement win, beat an undefeated top 5 team in the country on the road, and you're up 27, and you blow it. All you had to do was get any points in the second half offensively, and you win. And also, Lenore Sellers, that was horrible in the second half. It's like the 2 quarterbacks swapped bodies at halftime because Marcel Reed did not look very good in the first half. He comes out and he's making plays everywhere where Lenore keeps throwing picks. I do not know what Lenore Sellers was doing on the last play offensively for South Carolina. Did you watch this game live, Parker?
Oh, yeah.
The last play, it's what, 4th and 16 or something like that?
Yeah.
And he gets out of the pocket. He's looking downfield, and then he just runs for 4 yards and goes down. I'm like, dude, it's 4th down. I don't care if
you got to check it.
I don't care if there are 10 people covering your only wide receiver 45 yards down the field. He has a better chance of keeping you alive in the game than you do of running. Like, there was no chance he was getting the first down running the football. I could not believe it. It was like the play Nico made against Oklahoma last year.
Or the play Joe Milton made against Ole Miss in 21.
Right. Like, the worst thing that you can do on 4th down at the end of a game is not give someone a chance, right? Like, you can't take a sack. You can't run the ball and not have any chance to get to the sticks. Like, you've got to give somebody an opportunity to go make a play. If you throw an interception, who cares? Honestly, an interception would have been a better result on that play than what he did. I could not believe it. But, props to Texas A&M because there was a lot of calls of, is this Texas A&M team a fraud when they go down 30-3? And they came roaring back and played an unbelievable half of football. But, man, South Carolina, that can't happen. And I don't know if Shane Beamer gets fired at the end of the year, but it became a whole lot more likely after what happened in College Station.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be secure in my job after that performance. Here's the thing. If we're not talking about Marcel Reed being in the Heisman conversation after that, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Because the Heisman committee is all about moments, and that was Marcel Reed's moment because he looked terrible in the first half. Lots of interceptable footballs, fumbles, drop passes, everything was going wrong for Texas A&M. And it just goes to show you, Mike Elko, I'm sure, ripped the guys a new one at halftime, and that helped light the fire. But the belief and the confidence that Marcel Reed had that just emanated to the entire team, and they were a buzzsaw. And that is the Texas A&M that if you get them matched up in the playoff, watch out.
Yeah, and A&M is kind of known for being that team that just can't quite get over the top. It's like there's always talent there. There's money at Texas A&M, and they just can never quite get it done. And you go down 30-3 to a 3-6 South Carolina team and then come roaring back to win that game. Really impressive from Texas A&M. And I think you're right. Like, Marcel Reed firmly put himself in the Heisman conversation with that second half on Saturday. The SEC championship game can't be decided until the end of the year now, right? I believe the way
it should be.
No one can clinch a spot in the SEC title game until the Saturday after Thanksgiving now. So it's Georgia, it's Alabama, it's A&M, and then is it Oklahoma still has a chance to get in?
Yep.
But like very unlikely for Oklahoma to get in. Marcel Reed's going to have his moments, right? He's going to get to play Texas at the end of the year, and he's going to have a chance in the SEC championship game, more than likely, to prove that he deserves to be the Heisman winner. How cool would that be? I mean, local kid. I know the Vandy fans listening want Diego Pavia in a seat in New York, but I would say if you're listening out there in Nashville, the next coolest thing would be to have a local kid from Nashville go hoist the Heisman Trophy at the end of the year.
And a likable kid nonetheless. I mean, every interview he does, it's hard not to like Marcel Reed. So, and also team performance has a little bit to do with this as well.
Yeah.
Texas A&M's undefeated. Vanderbilt has 2 losses.
Right. And I think Diego Pavia has a great argument to be sitting in New York City, depending on how many finalists they take. And he's got to solidify that in these final 2 weeks of the season. But if you're looking at who has a better chance to win it, Marcel Reed has every opportunity in front of him to go solidify that. Fernando Mendoza has been good. Julian Sayin has been good. Ty Simpson took a big step back on Saturday. Marcel Reed has a chance to go win it in the next couple of weeks, and I'm excited to see it. They got Samford this week. Maybe can get some stat padding in, and then he'll have his 2 big chances against Texas, and then likely in the SEC championship game. Looking at it, I guess a loss for A&M, they still will have a chance to get in, right? If things go right for them with Alabama and some other things. I know strength of schedule is a big thing, but A&M, unbelievable comeback win on Saturday. One of the craziest games you'll ever see, 30-3 at halftime, and Texas A&M able to outscore the Gamecocks 28-0. 28-0 in the second half. We have if I can get the text line to load, we had a South Carolina fan text in saying, fire everyone on South Carolina staff. Tough.
Well, Mike Shula's already been fired. So
yeah, and for Shane, I feel for him because I like Shane Beamer. Growing up a Virginia Tech fan, Frank Beamer is the legend. He's got a statue built outside Lane Stadium. He came into this year with big expectations, with Sellers coming back, and you've got Dylan Stewart on the other side, and Nick Harbor, and this season has clearly not gone the way they expected, and that was really a tough blow when it felt like you were finally starting to get things going in the right direction. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to text or call, we'd love to hear from you. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 1 hour to go on the program today. We'll get back into the Titans. Titans, with their loss yesterday, still in control of the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Long way to go. Still got 7 weeks left in the season. But the quarterback options are starting to get thinner and thinner at the top of the draft, and maybe the Titans won't be able to find that dance partner. We'll talk about it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Final hour, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Reaction Monday, Titans fall to 1-9 yesterday. Cam Ward gets him down the field for a game-tying touchdown in the final 2 minutes of the game. Made a great throw to Chikakonkwo. Kind of redeemed himself from what had not been a great day early on. But the Titans defense couldn't get the stop. Texans kicked the 35-yard game-winning field goal as time expires, and the Titans maintain their hold of the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft coming up in April. And I know that's what a lot of fans are looking ahead to, is can the Titans hold on, have the top pick, and trade out of it for a king's ransom that you can use to fill all of the gaping important holes on this team. And that's what I'm hoping for too. I want to see the Titans win. I do want to see Cam Ward improve, but the easiest way for this team to get better is to lose, right? You got to take another step backwards in order to take a big step forwards. But the best way, of course, is trading out like everyone's hoping for. You want to get that haul like you got for the first overall pick in 2016, where you get a future first, you get a first this year, you get 2 seconds, you get a third, you get enough picks where it doesn't feel like as daunting of a task to go find, well, we need a wide receiver 1 in this class. We trade all 3 of our cornerbacks from last year are gone. We don't really have a star edge rusher. You've got to find that. Our tackles really aren't that great. You needed a left tackle to eventually be the guy who takes over for Dan Moore. There are so many holes in important spots at premium positions. You just don't have enough to get to right now. That can change if you trade out of the first overall pick. But Adam from Portland called earlier today and asked, what if the Titans get stuck? What if you get the first overall pick and there isn't a quarterback there that somebody's willing to give up that kind of franchise-changing value to come up and get? And my thought process the whole time has been, somebody's going to be there. There's going to be a quarterback that a team falls in love with and is willing to part with picks to come up and get. And I still think that will happen. There are options out there. And I think some of these desperate teams for quarterbacks, the Jets, the Saints, the Browns, even though Shedeur Sanders had that against all odds 3rd and 10 completion yesterday. That was my favorite tweet of the day yesterday, by the way. Josina Anderson.
Oh my gosh. It was hilarious.
Here is the against all odds 3rd and 10 completion from Shedeur Sanders to Jerry Jeudy.
It was a check down, all right?
He threw it to a wide open receiver 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and then Jerry Jeudy made 3 guys miss to get the first down. Not a good day for Shedeur Sanders, 4 of 16 and an interception. Also took some horrible sacks as well. Browns are probably going to be interested in coming up for a quarterback. So there are going to be options out there of teams. The question is, do they fall in love with a quarterback? And a tweet that's been circulating the last couple days is the 2026 draft class at the beginning of the year of like, should we pass on Cam Ward for these guys? And here's the list of the top 7 quarterbacks. This was tweeted out in March. The top 7 quarterbacks expected to be in the NFL draft: Arch Manning, Nico Iamaleava, Drew Aller, Lenora Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Sam Levitt. Most of those guys are going to go back to school another year. Like Arch is going back, Nico's going back, Sellers is going back, Levitt, I would guess, is going to go back. And then Klubnik, Nussmeier, and Aller, 2 of those guys are hurt right now, but none of them are going to be, I would guess, even day 2 picks. That's just, you just never know with these quarterback classes. It can be a quote unquote loaded quarterback class at the beginning of the year, but nobody stepped up. And now you're looking at the guys who maybe weren't as highly regarded heading into the year. A Ty Simpson. He looked pretty bad on Saturday. And not saying that one game should decide whether he goes number 1 overall or not. I don't know what the view on Ty Simpson is around the NFL, but he did not make a statement on Saturday, that's for sure. And he has had some great games this year. Fernando Mendoza, I still question if Fernando Mendoza is going to be a guy that NFL teams fall in love with. Like, he's played really well this year, but I just don't know if I see like first round NFL draft pick with Fernando Mendoza. Maybe I'm missing it. Again, I'm not an NFL scout or GM, but I don't know if he's going to be the guy who steps up. I had the question this weekend of, is Marcel Reed draft eligible? And he is.
Yeah, but I don't see him entering the draft.
I don't think he's going to leave. But you never know if I'm sure that these guys have people in their ear telling them, hey, if you come out, you're going to go number 1 overall. And that's why, like a Drew Aller didn't come out last year, I think, is because he was probably told, yeah, you're behind Ward and you might be behind Dart, maybe even behind Sanders. Like, I think these guys know kind of ballpark what NFL teams think of them. And right now, it just doesn't look as deep. If you're the Titans, you're hoping for 2 of these guys to figure it out, right? And on the big stage at the end of the year, go make plays that puts them right at the top of the draft conversation. Like Ty Simpson, go out there and win a national championship and make big plays doing it. And some teams are going to fall in love with a guy who makes plays in big moments down the stretch in the college football season. You need that if you're the Titans, because it would be ideal to have 2 quarterbacks up there. Right now, the Titans have the number 1 overall pick, and I don't think they're going to win a whole lot of games the rest of the way. Like, I think they're going to be firmly in the top 5 no matter what. But you want to have as many options up there that, hey, if you don't end up with the number 1 overall pick and you're picking second, that somebody else wants to come up for Fernando Mendoza or whoever it is that's coming out. But right now, those options are seemingly thin at this point in the season.
I think Mendoza is the consensus QB1 right now, according to a lot of mock drafts. But I can tell you that Ty Simpson is viewed with a first-round grade, and some of the throws that he makes have NFL written all over it. So I'd say they're 1 and 2. Dante Moore, as of right now, would probably be QB3. But outside of that, I don't see many other quarterbacks going in the first round.
Yeah, and Dante Moore, the rumor is that he's going to stay in school for another year.
Which is very likely.
So,
because if he comes back for another year, I mean, Oregon could win a national championship under Dan Lanning. I fully believe that.
Well, and there are quarterbacks who, like I said, might get told they're standing and maybe they plan on coming back for another year. But I think every college coach and every agent and every family would tell you, like, hey, Dante, if you go out right now, you'll be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. I don't think he would turn that down. I don't know, but that's it. I think quarterbacks who go back to school, it's not just to go back to school. A lot of it is that they don't like where their draft standing is and they go back. Like Cam Ward. Cam Ward was projected to be a 3rd-round pick coming out of Washington State. He goes back. He ends up being the number 1 overall pick coming out of Miami. So I think you might have some of that, but we'll see what the NFL thinks. The ESPN has done some of those polls of, hey, if you had to pick a quarterback number 1, who would it be? At the beginning of the year, it was Lenora Sellers. Now it looks like Fernando Mendoza might be the guy. Maybe it's Ty Simpson. I don't know. But the Titans need as many of those quarterbacks up there as possible. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Wes in Clarksville asks, what if no good coaches want to coach Cam? Does that limit us on how good of a coach we can get? He's asking, does the coach get to pick his quarterback? Could always dump Cam and pick up picks and still get quarterback with the number 1 pick. It's not going to happen. If you want to know how the Titans feel about Cam Ward, go and listen to Mike Borgonzi's press conference from last week. And I think you'll have a pretty good idea that Cam Ward is not just going to be the quarterback this year. He's going to be the quarterback next year and likely the quarterback heading into the new stadium. They want Cam Ward to be the franchise quarterback. That's what they drafted him to be. Mike Borgonzi does not have any reservations about Cam Ward based on what he said last week, right? He said, we believe that Cam Ward is progressing and is going to be our franchise quarterback. So they're going to do everything they can to build around Cam, not replace Cam. Because guess what? You made the leap. You jumped off the cliff taking Cam Ward last year and passed on all of that value that could have helped reshape your roster. You didn't do that just to use a top 5 pick on another quarterback. You've got to commit, and I think they have committed to Cam Ward, and they're going to show that in the draft. Wherever they pick, they're going to try and trade out of it. I mean, I think that is number 1 priority for the Titans is we are open for business. Who wants a quarterback? We've got your number 1 overall pick. Come and get it. That's going to be the Titans' plan. You got to have a dance partner, though. And would it be the worst thing in the world to get Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain or whoever their favorite non-quarterback player
You
is
just need
at the
elite
top of the draft?
players.
Like
You just need elite
you
players.
want that. That is not the end of the world, but you're also not going to completely reshape your roster with just one player at the top of the draft. It'll help, but the easiest way to rebuild this roster is trade down a couple of spots, pick up picks, and still get those elite blue chip type players.
Just need elite players. Now, I thought Adam from Portland, his call on the 9 o'clock hour was very true, because I've also had these thoughts as well. What if there is nobody that wants to trade? That's certainly a possibility. So that is something to worry about in all this. As far as somebody wanting to coach Cam Ward, you understand there's a huge difference between getting a coach to coach Will Levis and getting a coach to coach Cam Ward.
Yeah.
One was a second round pick, the other one was drafted first overall. There's going to be somebody that wants to coach Cam Ward.
Right.
The other part of finding a trade partner, that's the part that I don't know.
Right. And the league told you what they thought of Cam Ward, with the Giants trying to trade up, and a lot of quarterback needy teams after Ward was off the board didn't take a quarterback because they felt like Ward was the best guy. So there are going to be coaches that want to coach Cam Ward. And there's going to be a very similar storyline of the Callahan and Levis thing of, man, yeah, Will Levis was a big plus for me when I took this job. Same things are going to be said. You just got to hope that you found the right guy this time, because Callahan, with his experience with Levis and Ward, clearly was not the right guy. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Titans currently in the pole position for the number 1 overall pick. Will it stay that way? I would guess so. This team's not very good. But the only way to reshape this roster is if you're able to trade back and get a haul. That's got to be the plan, but you got to have some of these college quarterbacks pop. If you're a Titans fan and you're sitting down on Saturdays, maybe you're a Vols fan and you're out of playoff contention, go watch some of these young quarterbacks play and hope for them to have big games so they can rush up draft boards and the Titans can make themselves a trade. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll get to your phones on the other side. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you on this Monday. Talking Titans in this final hour. Titans fell to 1-9. They are in position for the number 1 pick, and trading back has to be the most attractive option for this team. Said it with TD last week. The best place you can be as a rebuilding team is picking first with your quarterback, or at least who you believe is your quarterback. We saw with the Titans, even though Marcus Mariota didn't turn out to be the guy, they did not have to take a quarterback in 2016. They traded out and they built that roster into a team that went to the playoffs 4 out of 5 years, made the AFC Championship game, number 1 seed, even without Marcus Mariota working out as the quarterback. So that's the best place to be, feeling like you have your quarterback and you can trade out of it at number 1. Long way to go to get there. You need some of these quarterbacks to pop. You need them to pop. And right now, there's some that are iffy, and I don't know what NFL teams think of these guys, but you need a few to pop and get up towards the top of the draft board and make somebody give you that king's ransom that you're looking for. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to our phone lines. Dustin from Hopkinsville has called in. Dustin, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Good morning, guys. I'm running out of Band-Aids from all this bleeding blue that we do. Parker said to talk him off the ledge, buddy. We're holding hands looking over. I'm sorry.
I'm trying.
But, hey, that last drive was great. But let's talk about, the first 3 quarters. I don't think them boys had a trip to the red zone. And beyond the flags, man, you just got to find ways to get to the red zone, and we ain't found that. That last drive, Cam Ward was at the 5-yard line, and it was kind of quiet, and I know he heard me. I was 13 seats back right there at the field goal, right behind him. I said, throw to the dang tight ends. And guess what he did? And the Texas fans are laughing me around. I was like, yeah, throw the tight ends. Man, about 5 or 6 throws was to the tight ends, and boy, did it light the world up. Cam Ward ran, and he can run. My goodness, buddy, keep doing it. But let me tell you what I saw from Cam Ward I didn't like, because we're going to see both sides of this. We're not just going to be biased. Cam Ward likes to look down his first shot, and when he don't see it, buddy, and if he's looking left and he starts to look right, his feet start dancing. And, buddy, you got to have situational awareness. When you are on the 5-yard line and you back up to your own end zone, you have 2 seconds, and you got to get rid of that ball. You cannot hold it over 2 seconds. And that he almost gave him a safety. It's just wild to me. And the throws across the field, not the ones down the field over the middle, stuff like that, his accuracy, he's got a lot of work to do. And it was just as much on Mason Kinsey on a couple. And it was 50-50. Both them boys, one should have threw better. One should have caught the ball when he gets his fingers on it. I yelled it in the stands. I was like, if you're a wide receiver and you get both hands on the ball, you have to catch it. And I caught flack. But, buddy, I stand on business. And that was a business comment. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you calling in, Dustin. It's a very good recap of Cam Ward's day. I kind of view yesterday for Cam Ward as the opposite of the Patriots game, where in the Patriots game, I really felt like Cam Ward played well, but he had the one play, the ghost fumble for a touchdown that was going to overshadow everything. Yesterday, I think, was the opposite, where he left a good impression on everybody with the way he finished that game. The run, the throw to Chig, the touchdown to Van Jefferson. I think he leaves a good impression the way he finished the game, even though I think yesterday, in terms of consistency, was one of his worst days. I mean, he's right that the feet don't match the eyes a lot of the time. When he gets past that first read, the footwork gets a little sloppy. It's led to some errant passes. It's led to sacks. He's got a lot to improve on, but I view it as the opposite of the Patriots game, where it's like a lot of that got overshadowed by a nice finish and a great throw to Chig Okonkwo to set up the game-tying touchdown.
My first thoughts, I need to go to a game with Dustin because it sounds incredibly fun. Second of all, he's absolutely right about everything that he said. His feet start to panic in the pocket after his first read. I was so proud of Cam for taking off yesterday, showing that athleticism, showing that little burst that he had. I want to see more of that. That's what we've been calling for.
Yeah.
So I applaud Cam Ward for that. The accuracy over the middle is certainly something that has to be cleaned up. I know exactly what he's referring to. The ball that hit Mason Kinsey in the hands, which I agree. He stands on business. That should have been caught.
Yes.
It was also a little far out.
A better receiver catches that. Was it a perfect
100%.
throw? No, but a better receiver catches that.
And that's kind of the accuracy things that Cam Ward has to get better at. That ball needs to be a little bit more inside. Nonetheless, still should have been caught. So those are some of the things that I did not like from Cam Ward. But man, that scramble, that just shows you incremental progress. That we've been calling for that, and he did it.
It shows you that he's coachable. Mike McCoy said this week he wants Cam Ward to be willing to run the football. He wants him, when he gets outside of the pocket and there is space in front of him, take it. And we saw that yesterday a couple of times. But you are right. The accuracy yesterday was one of his least accurate days as a thrower. There were a couple of throws that he even completed that the ball placement was not good on. Tajay Spears on the sideline. He caught it behind the line. And if Cam Ward puts that on his left shoulder, and again, this is nitpicking, if he puts it on his left shoulder, Tajay is working his way up the field, can maybe make somebody miss. Instead, he threw it behind him. Tajay had to go back and collect it. And then by that point, the defense was on him. Tajay did make a nice move to get by and get up the sideline. Another one with Alec Iamaner, same thing. Throwing to the sideline. Alec adjusted and came back to the ball. But if you put it on him, it's a bigger play. So Cam Ward needs to be better. The accuracy wasn't great. But again, I think it's a good point there that like the last drive kind of overshadowed some of the bad that we saw yesterday from Cam. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. A text here from earlier in the show that I didn't see, Wes from Hermitage, said, the Titans should have Brock Bowers. I will literally never understand the Latham pick. So stupid, but that's what the Titans are, stupid.
Hindsight's 2020.
See,
honestly, I was calling for Brock Bowers too when it happened,
Me
but
too.
I'm not going to play armchair GM.
No, I say it all the time that the Skoronski and Latham picks, I wanted Smith and Jigba and Brock Bowers. And again, that like partially that's because I want playmakers. The Titans haven't had very many playmakers outside of Derrick Henry and AJ Brown over the last few years. But this might be an unpopular take. You know who I blame the fact that the Titans don't have Brock Bowers and Jackson Smith and Jigba on?
Who?
John Robinson. And I know he didn't make those picks, and we might get some of the J-Rob truthers in here. John Robinson blowing 3 straight picks in 3 state drafts on offensive linemen forced the Titans to take offensive linemen because
that's not a bad take.
They had no other option because the O-line was that bad.
Isaiah Wilson, who were the other two?
Dylan Radins, Nicholas Petitford.
Yeah.
He took 3 top 100 offensive linemen who were all busts in 3 straight years and left the Titans with no other choice but to take offensive linemen early in the draft. So again, J-Rob guys, don't come for me. J-Rob did a lot for this franchise and is one of the biggest reasons why the Titans had that stretch of 5 years where they were very good. But the reason the Titans didn't have the flexibility to take playmakers in the first round in 2023 and 2024 is because J-Rob blew 3 straight picks on offensive linemen.
I actually really like that take the more that I think about it. I really do. Another take that I heard from Chad Wither on DVD on Friday. This doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about, but it has to do with the Titans. They never should have been called the Tennessee Titans. They should have been called the Nashville Titans.
Yeah.
Which and the more I started thinking about that one, I started thinking how many teams in the NFL are named after the state versus the city.
Like Patriots or New England and not
Detroit.
Boston or Foxborough.
Detroit and Philadelphia played last night. They're not the Pennsylvania Eagles. They're not the Michigan Lions.
It's a good point. That is a good point. I'm trying to think. Are the Titans the only one?
I'm actually so Arizona
Cardinals, but all of their teams are Arizona except for the Suns. Suns are the Phoenix Suns, but Arizona Diamondbacks, Arizona Coyotes. So maybe we can give them a pass there. You're right, though. I didn't think about that. Titans.
Because I don't associate I think of this like when I go to Knoxville, I meet a lot of people who are not Titans fans.
Yeah.
So I don't really associate the Titans with Knoxville. And I know for a fact people in Memphis probably don't care about the Titans.
That's a fair point. Well, we saw it firsthand that if you were outside of the Middle Tennessee area, you could not watch the Titans yesterday, at least on your regular Fox station.
Okay, so you have the New York Jets, the New
Yeah,
York
but New
Giants.
York can be a city.
That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Tennessee, let's see here, Arizona, and that's Carolina, but Carolina's the territory because it's not
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yeah,
the North Carolina
that's
Panthers,
fair.
it's just
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers. So that's about it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think they wanted the alliteration there. Tennessee Titans. 5496 says if the Titans had JSN and Bowers, they would have traded them for conditional 5th-round picks at the trade deadline. It's pretty good. That is a good one. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your thoughts. Our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Titans wide receivers. We got to see the Minnesota Vikings also. 0365 letting us know.
Yeah.
The Titans wide receivers yesterday, at one point in the game, the only options they had were Van Jefferson and Mason Kinsey. That's it. That is it. Alec Iamanawer was in and out at the end, but that is it. Let's talk about wide receivers. And I've been ready to catch the strep for a while. The Titans might have no other choice but to catch the strep coming up on Sunday. We'll talk about it next. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 125 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly with you for a little under half an hour. Chase and Big Joe coming up at the top of the hour, live from Circus Sportsbook, Kentucky. They'll have plenty more reaction to the Titans and a big weekend of college football. Lots of craziness happened on Saturday. We already went through that A&M comeback and Oklahoma taking down Alabama. We'll have more reaction on college football throughout the week. But sticking with the Titans here, the Titans wide receiver group got very, very thin at the end of that game on Sunday. You had Calvin Ridley break his leg on the first play from scrimmage of the game for the Titans offense. He is done for the year. And Parker, we kind of agreed on this earlier. I think that's the last snap he takes as a Titan. Correct?
That was my instant reaction when I saw he was out for the year, because you're going to be able to trade him and at least get some value. And the way they structured the contract was after the 2 years when they signed him, they would be able to get out of it. So yeah, I think he's done.
You'd have $16 million in dead cap if you cut him. I do think Calvin Ridley is valuable enough that you could get a pick back for him. Maybe. I don't think they just cut him, but we'll see. I don't think he plays again for the Titans at the very least. Then you had Chimdike get crushed after he dropped his first punt of the year. First muff for Chimdike. He went to try and recover it and got absolutely smacked by a Texans gunner. And so he was in concussion protocol. They said he cleared it, but he has a chest contusion. So who knows if Chimdike is going to be out there on Sunday. Alec Iamaner with a hamstring injury. Who knows if he's going to be out there on Sunday. So that leaves you with healthy wide receivers, Van Jefferson and Mason Kinsey. And I don't know if the Titans have any other choice but to catch the strep on Sunday. I think Xavier Restrepo, unless Chimdike and Alec Iamaner both come back healthy. Even then, though, who are you going to run with 4 wide receivers and one of them is Mason Kinsey on Sunday?
Nope.
Who's out there? Like, could the Titans make a signing this week? They may have
James
to.
Prochet.
Right, James Prochet is there, but
Restrepo.
Prochet's running out of elevations. I guess maybe you have to put him on. We're going to
see Xavier Restrepo. We are. It's just, it may not be next Sunday, but it may be the Sunday after.
I'm wondering if we see if the debut for Xavier Restrepo comes on Sunday, because you just don't have many other options right now. That's not the right list. I'm looking for who are actual free agents right now for the Titans to go out and get at wide receiver. Like, is there anybody even moderately good? There we go. Available.
Let's back see. Titans legend Ramel Keaton.
Tyler Boyd's out there. Based on this list, Jamison Crowder, Deontay Hardy. Doesn't sound like a great list to me. So I think you are going to get Xavier Restrepo making his NFL debut on Sunday. And we'll see how he does. I'm not expecting him to go out there and get 15 targets, but I think they'll put him out there on third downs, especially if Chimdike is out. You need somebody in the slot, and we'll see what he can do. I am excited to see Xavier Restrepo play, because we can put this to bed one way or the other, hopefully. Like, either the Titans have been just committing malpractice and putting a productive receiver on their practice squad and not calling him up, or he's going to do nothing. I would lean with the latter. I don't think he's going to be all that productive, but I also don't know if the Titans have many better options. Dustin?
This is hilarious, because I know when I get that email from the Titans that they've called up Xavier Restrepo, I already know what the freak out that is going to happen.
It is. I mean, it's going to set Titans Twitter ablaze. Dustin from Hopkinsville says Boyd might retire if you call him up. Yeah, that's true. Boyd might just say, you know what? I'd rather not play again.
Deontay Johnson, Odell Beckham.
OBJ retired, didn't he? Didn't he
Yeah, he's still listed on
maybe
here.
You can call him back out.
DJ Chark, Michael Gallup.
At this point, why not put Restrepo in there? At the very least, Cam
Marquez Callaway.
Former
Ball.
At this point, Xavier Restrepo is the best option you might have if you need a body at wide receiver on Sunday. So we'll see. A lot of it's going to depend on Alec Iamaner and Chimdike's health status. Like, we don't know, and maybe we'll get an update today from Mike McCoy whenever he speaks of how healthy are those guys. He's been pretty tight-lipped with health information, so I doubt it, but if those guys play, maybe there's a chance Restrepo is still on the practice squad, but I think he's getting elevated. I really do. And I'm excited to see it. At least gives us a reason to tune in for what is likely going to be a bludgeoning by the Seahawks on Sunday. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Keegan is on the line. Thanks for calling, Keegan. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, fellas? I don't really have a general, like a very specific point to talk about. I just kind of want to talk about the expectations surrounding the Titans and the fan base. Like, you know, for you two, Parker, Jake, and everyone on the radio, it's your job to come in here and you have to talk about the Titans, good, bad, or ugly. So it is what it is there. But when you have a lot of fans call in, it seems like fans have certain expectations where no matter how bad the Titans team is, they just get so upset when we lose, whether it be for coaching reasons or Cam Ward or, you know, J.C. Latham just had a huge, awful game. It could be any reason, but people get so worked up when the Titans lose. And it just makes me wonder, you know, what are your expectations to begin with when you go into watching the game? You know, do we expect Cam Ward to look like Andrew Luck his rookie year? I think Andrew Luck's the only number one pick who could come into this Tennessee Titans team and find success. So we don't have Andrew Luck out there. We got Cam Ward. You look at the wide receiver room, y'all just ran it down. We're stuck with Van Jefferson and Mason Kinsey as the only two fully healthy receivers. So who does Cam Ward really have to throw to? Then you check out the offensive line. You got J.C. Latham false starting. There's not a single sound in the stadium 4 different times. I mean, what's your expectation for the offensive line at that point? Because they've showed they're not great. The front office definitely has the expectation of us not being great at all. But it just seems like a lot of times when Reaction Monday comes around, like I believe earlier you were talking about people on the text line saying we were tanking. Tanking don't happen in the NFL. That just don't happen. Now, you could be a really bad team and you lose a lot. That happens every single year. But you're not going to tank. You know, you hear people calling and complaining about tanking, complaining about Cam Ward, whether they watch or listen, calling about you, Trey. You know, you hear about the offensive line. You know, no one's really talked about the defense for the most part. I think the defense did great. You know, we held them to 0 points in the first half after ourselves being shut out by them earlier in the season. They competed really well. Cam Ward went out there and led a game-tying drive, which is something we haven't seen him do in anything except the Arizona Cardinals game. He saw a lot of good things. You know, Cam progressed. We played really hard, which is what you want a losing team to do. You don't want them to quit. You want them to play hard. And then in all that, you stayed right at the top of the draft rankings. To me, you know, as long as the team's competing hard, is there really that much to complain about? I mean, do we really have that high of standards and expectations to complain so much and so passionately about a team that we don't expect to be good at all? You know, that's just kind of how I got, you know, that's all I got for y'all. I just want to throw that out there and see what y'all had to say.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Keegan. I get what you're saying, that even with low expectations, the Titans somehow find a way to disappoint. I mean, heading into the year, Titans fans in general, there were some out there, I forget who, there was one texter who said the Titans are going to go like 11-5. And most of Titans fans expected this team to show incremental progress. 5 wins, 6 wins. And you're looking like you're going to be lucky to get 2. So yes, they have disappointed. It still looks really bad. There doesn't seem to be any signs of improvement. But that's where this team is right now. And the only way to fix it is find a better head coach and build a better roster. I mean, that this offseason is going to be very, very important for Mike Borgonzi, for Cam Ward, and for this organization as a whole.
I love that Keegan called in. He's one of our more logical callers, and that's all we're asking for is for the fan base just to think logically and to have logical expectations. I'm going to give an analogy. After, let's take the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and after Endgame, the movies took a steep decline. So now when I go to the theater to see an MCU movie, I am going in with an open mind and very low expectations because I know it just hasn't been the same since the original Avengers.
Yeah.
And that way, if it's disappointing, I'm not disappointed because I don't expect it to be a, the next Avengers movie.
Yeah. It's like Avengers Endgame was the Titans getting the 1 seed in
Exactly.
the AFC playoffs.
Exactly.
It's like you've got
It's
it.
all about
You
expectation.
can't go in expecting Thor: Love and Thunder to be the best movie you've ever seen.
Or the Marvels or Eternals, because they sucked. And I went in with low expectations and I wasn't disappointed.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Titans fall to 1-9. Back in action on Sunday, taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And I believe I saw 13-point underdogs is the opening line. At home.
Rough.
At home. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We got one more segment with you. Wrap up the show after this. If you have any final thoughts, you can get those in on our phone and text line. We'll be right back. Jake Lyman, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 1025 The Game, wrapping up our Monday show. Chasing Big Joe coming up right after us. Tomorrow, Tony Tuesday on the program makes its return after Nick Frazier was gallivanting around Key West last week. So excited to have Nick Frazier back on the program tomorrow. We'll talk Titans, college football, much more. Let's go back to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Geronimo is on the line. Thanks for calling. What you got for us?
Hey, I just wanted to comment on the last caller that was talking about tanking does not go on in the NFL. Like, we clearly tanked that game at the end. I mean, we kicked the ball into the end zone to give them a short field, and then we called 2 timeouts to stop the clock for them to run the ball and get it a little closer for a better field goal. Clearly tanked it, which I don't blame them one bit. What is the point of even trying to win? It's not going to do any good. Half the players are going to be gone next year. This coaching staff is not going to be here. So you're not building any kind of confidence. Cam is fine in the confidence department. Let's lose. Let's get that first draft pick, and let's trade it for more draft capital. They said they want a bunch of picks in the top 100. Well, that's the best way to do it. So I have no problem with them losing out the rest of the year because a win is meaningless at this point. That's all I wanted to say. Tanking does happen in the NFL. We clearly saw it.
Well, thank you for the call. And I know there's a lot of the Titans fan base out there that is perfectly fine losing the rest of the way. And I get that. The Titans, they need a lot of help on this roster. And the best way to do that is trading out of the first overall pick. We've had this conversation, but they're not purposefully trying to lose. I think the front office is trying to make it as difficult for this team to win as possible, right? Like, you're trading away talented players and you're not putting out a very good product on the field. But when those guys are in between the lines for 3 hours on Sundays, they're not trying to lose. And Mike McCoy is not trying to lose. They made some bad decisions yesterday, but I don't think it was with the intent to lose that football game. And they're going to lose for the most part because they're just a really bad football team. Like, that is the reason the Titans are bad, is because they are a bad team, not because they are purposefully trying to lose. We were having the conversation about the Titans wide receivers, and Calvin Ridley, it's possible we've seen his last snap as a Titan. And I went after John Robinson a little bit a second ago for the reason the Titans had to take offensive linemen in the first round in 2023 and 2024. So I'll go after Rand Carthon here a little bit. How many of his players will be left after this offseason coming up? Because he had 2 drafts, 2 free agency classes. I'm not talking about like guys they got off waivers. Like Darrell Baker, I guess, would be considered one of Rand Carthon's guys. I'm not talking about him. Skoronski's going to be back, of course. J.C. Latham's going to be back. And I think Cedric Gray is going to be back. Are there any other of Rand Carthon's guys that he either drafted or went out and got in free agency that you are 100% confident are going to be back on this team?
Jalen Harrell?
Yeah, I guess Harrell is 7th round pick. Yeah. I put him on this list. The other guys that I think there's a chance, Lloyd Cushenberry. I don't know if you move on from Lloyd Cushenberry, but there's an outside shot. Tavondre Sweat would be in there, but we've kind of heard from the front office, the coaching staff, TD's kind of told us that Tavondre Sweat isn't held in the best favor among the Titans right now. So I don't know. Yes, could he be around? Could he be traded? Maybe. Sebastian Joseph Day, I don't know. Arden Key's
he's been playing fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine bringing him back.
One of the few that have actually been playing well.
Arden Key's going to be gone. Tony Pollard's going to be gone. James Williams could be back too. Those are the ones that
I forgot about James.
But
Williams.
It's going to be like a handful of guys. It's going to be both of Rand's first round picks on the offensive line. Maybe Tavondre Sweat, maybe Cedric Gray, maybe Jalen Harrell. Like it is funny. He was here for 2 years, and basically all Mike Borgonzi has done since arriving here is just trying to erase Rand Carthon's tenure, which, to be fair, probably needed to happen. A lot of those were bad decisions, and Calvin Ridley and L'Jarius Sneed, the biggest ones, will likely be shipped off somewhere else or let go sometime this offseason. Titans are 1-9. We'll have lots more reaction on the station today and throughout the week. Of course, Corey Curtis will be with us on Wednesdays, Teron Davenport on Thursdays, as we get ready for the Titans' next matchup against the Seahawks. And maybe finally, the Xavier Restrepo debut.
You already said you think it happens this Sunday. So
in a Titans uniform.
You're getting ahead on our Monday headliners.
Well, I just saw a tweet from Easton Freeze, and I thought it was a very good point. It said, if the Titans don't call Xavier Restrepo up this week, then what is the point of having him on the roster? I mean, what would be the point of keeping him around and having him on the practice squad if when basically all of your wide receivers are hurt, you're still not willing to call him up. So we'll see. That'll be something to keep an eye on throughout the week. Fun show today. Appreciate everybody who interacted with us on the phone and text line. We will be back tomorrow again. Nick Frazier going to join us for the full show for Tony Tuesdays. Chasing Big Joe coming up next here on 102.5 The Game.